I'll open the floor for questions. If you want to ask a question, please state your name and be quick in the question. Before I'll give the floor for questions, I'll give to our Ambassador Andisha a few minutes, because he heard Balaz, he heard Mr. Foxley, but he also heard Myra, to maybe make a few comments.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think probably we do not have much to add to what was raised here. The question of Afghanistan, but to me, the most important aspect, at least as far as this council is concerned, this building is concerned, is the situation, the dire situation of human rights, and particularly of women and girls. What's happening in Afghanistan, in all the strategic context, which is, is part of the country itself, is a product of sort of a strategic rivalries. I don't want to dwell to that. That's a very historical thing, and I think everything hopefully might be solved together in that region one day. But what is happening today is unprecedented in the history of human rights, the history of this council itself. We are facing gender apartheid in Afghanistan. We're facing very clear gender persecution. The violation of IHL is very obvious, very clear, and it's on record on the tapes. But the measures taken does not commensurate the atrocities happening in the country. As an ambassador, as a former Vice President of the Human Rights Council, I can find an answer to this question as to why the measures in this council. I'm not, blaming here theocracy, totalitarian democracy, and the others. I mean, democratic states just retreated out of Afghanistan in not more than 2 years. But why this sense of double standard in the country of Afghanistan? We have several commission of inquiries created in the past year and a half in many places. It might have the merits, of course. Everything has to be decided. But when it comes to Afghanistan, I think there is a definite silence. And it seems that both forces are cooperating in keeping the situation as it is in Afghanistan and keeping almost a blind eye to the atrocities, which is a huge question for me and of course for many in the civil society.
Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador. I'm sure we all agree with you, and probably it is maybe this council today is looking more towards Western and Eastern Europe than it's looking to Afghanistan, unfortunately.
Not only that, the ICC does the same.
Like I said, I'll open the floor for questions, and I'll go ahead with one question and kick off myself then, because I know that Myra rushed a bit through her speech, so I have a question for you, Myra. As you said, the people in Gilgit-Baltistan are a bit in a constitutional limbo, so when needed, they're used as, for exploitation. Pakistan might treat them as their own or the territory, and when not, it's they basically don't have any rights. And then this CPAC is building through that. So, and there are many voices. There are some voices in Gilgit-Baltistan who talk about being part of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. There are others who look for provincial status. So what's the solution? Because like we were discussing yesterday as well, even if they get on paper, like the Baloch have a provincial status, well, you know how many Baloch are being killed every day. So what is then the solution?
Okay, well, there is no obvious solution. I'll just try analytically to consider the former princely state of Jammu and Kashmir as a whole, and that I think a diplomatic solution to it between India and Pakistan is essential for the well-being of all the people in the former princely state of Jammu and Kashmir. That sadly doesn't seem to be on the table right now. But I would stress that any political easing between India and Pakistan is going to benefit the people of the region. Just to loop back into the question of the Karakoram Highway, that links Xinjiang to Pakistan, yes, but actually if you were serious about opening up the region to road and transport links, you actually should also be looking east to west into between Baltistan and Ladakh, which have very close cultural ties. So at least whenever you come across your desks, if you do, people talking about infrastructure projects, then just remember that you need to ask what they're there for. And be very wary as well of the kind of propaganda that claims the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is a revival of the old Silk Route. I mean, that was not what the old Silk Route was. The old Silk Route was actually a network of interconnected pathways that actually served the local people. It was never a corridor in the sense of what we have here. The only other solution, and it may be both need to happen, is, much as some of the people in Jammu and Kashmir would dislike it, is that Gilgit-Baltistan is given full provincial status in Pakistan, which gives it a little bit more political representation. You're still left with the fact that these big infrastructure projects are run by, as I said, by Pak Army and by Chinese companies. But at least if people have got full access to legal, political and constitutional rights, their voice will be a little bit louder than it is currently. And, you know, as I said, I stressed so much at the beginning that I don't speak for the people of Gilgit and Baltistan. It makes me uncomfortable doing so, but what I would say again and again is they need to be given a platform and given a hearing, and they're not getting that right now.
Thank you, Myra. And I saw here in the front, Mr. Fazl Khan, and afterwards I'll come over there. Mr. Fazl Khan is the founding member of what Malaysia was talking about the PTM, a non-violent movement in Pakistan. Also a victim directly, as one of his sons was killed during the APS Peshawar attack in 2014. Strong proponent of human rights and justice. Please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Junaid. I would just ask Ms. Myra about, as you said, in Gilgit-Baltistan. Don't you think Gilgit-Baltistan is an uncalled cantonment which is only runs under Pakistan military with the connivance and collaboration of China for their personal gains, and as you know, it's a strategic importance is situated in a place like this. But I would also request you, and through this honorable forum, to urge this honorable institution, this organization, to focus on the gross human rights violation in shape of terrorism, which is carried out in that part of the world across the line. I would say we never call it a border, across the Durand line, and specifically no one is bothering to know that how the Afghan government right now is functioning. You people are well aware that Taliban, who took control of power of Afghanistan more than 1 year, how they are managing it. Obviously, this is Pakistan intelligence agencies who have provided them the bureaucratic system, all the management, and undercover, they are actually behind it. So we urge and request from this honorable forum to do anything for that region, because because of all this, what is going on, this state of status quo, we as a nation are suffering. So better we should be like man was asking for certain rights and privilege. It's a shame that sitting in 21st century we are requesting time and again from the world to give us right to live, right of peace, at least consider us a human being. So this is very, I think, high time for us to request and urge and do something for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think take a couple of 2 questions more. I'll come to you, and then maybe someone if they want to say something about it. In the back, sir. Yes. You raise your hand. Yeah. And then I'll come to you after this one.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm from Pakistani administrative Kashmir. My name is Sardar Shaukat Kashmiri. I have one question to Madam Mahira. I know she is an expert on the regions, but I think that there is little bit confusion. Confusion is that the Gilgit-Baltistan is part and parcel of the former principal state of Jammu Kashmir, and still, according to the Pakistani constitution, it is not constitutional part of Pakistan. Section 257 of the Pakistani constitution defines the Pakistani territory, and according to the UN regulations, Gilgit-Baltistan is a disputed territory, and Pakistan herself claiming or stating so many times that these areas and the whole state of Jammu Kashmir is disputed. But since 1948, that area is totally neglected, ruled by the land officers, and there is no standard judiciary. And the people, the common people, are suffered, their natural resources are plundered, and constitutionally, Pakistan has no local standard on these areas because according to the UN resolutions and the truce agreement, Pakistan should withdraw all those areas which is illegally occupied. So this is the constitutional position and the UN resolution positions. And the whole state of Jammu Kashmir, according to official stand of Pakistan, is that the whole state of Jammu Kashmir is disputed, including Gilgit-Baltistan. But the people are denied basic rights, and there is in DOK or in Gilgit-Baltistan, there is so-called governments which is just befooling the whole community. They have no any constitutional rights to rule people and provide them basic facilities. I thank you.
I'll give everyone on the panel a minute at the end to reply to everyone, so I'll take a couple of questions more. I saw one lady over there raising your hand, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. I wish to thank you all for your enormous endeavors for spreading word, and would like to add just a very brief message of hope as we have reached the darkest point in history, which will not last much longer. We are moving in a completely new era of synthesis, peace and harmony, and are experiencing now the birth pains of a new civilization. This is a cosmic fact, as we are moving out of the age of Pisces into the new age of Aquarius, which will last for the next 2,300 years. Always when humanity changed from one age to another, the hierarchy of sent as a teacher like the God Rama.
One second, ma'am. I'm going to interrupt you because I don't think this particular statement has much to do with the subject at hand, the human rights in South Asia. I'm sorry, we're going to stick to the topic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but we should invite the Masters Day or the Master.
We'll do that next year. Thank you. Please.
I'm a journalist freelance, accredited in the UN with no specific qualification in your issue. First, an information. I was surprised to learn that tonight, next door, former retired Pakistani and Indian intelligence and army officers are holding a public debate. I think it's quite sensational. Probably you are already informed. Lieutenant General Asad Durrani, Amarit Singh Dolat, and General Saad Muhammad. So in case someone in the room doesn't know yet, you go to the website gcsp.ch and you will see it is public under registration, and these people were already attending a students' meeting yesterday morning at the Graduate Institute. Now my question, I heard from the lady from Reuters that China has a predatory attitude vis-à-vis the rest of the world. We often heard that. But China knows that it is counterproductive in the middle and long term. When American imperialism developed, it was in the name of technology, we bring you to the moon. When the French Revolution occupied Africa, it was for freedom. When the Soviet, it was for socialism. So what is there today which can make a coalition of despotism last? And are the despots really so blind that they don't see that they have no message for the rest of the world?
Okay, thank you. I'll give one more question because I promised my friend and he'll get angry with me. 1 minute so that everyone gets a last minute to speak. Please.
Thank you. I'm from Azad Kashmir, and I've heard a lot about Gilgit-Baltistan, Kashmir, Indian side and Pakistani side. I think the basic issue in South Asia is because the three players in China, India and Pakistan, Kashmir is in between this triangle. And unless Kashmir is resolved, I don't think there can be any peace, any development in the region. And about Jammu and Kashmir, every Kashmiri believes that whole of state of Jammu and Kashmir, as it was on the 14th of August 1947, the princely state, all is disputed according to the UN Security Council resolutions. And then when you talk about India and Pakistan, there was a bilateral agreement, Shimla Agreement. And the basis of Shimla Agreement were that there can be no unilateral change. But the Indian government on 5th of August 2019 made 2 union territories, one with legislature and one without legislature. My question is, because there is no time, I am sorry, Junaid, that unless Kashmiris are included in a process of resolution, my point of view is that there can be no peace, no development in South Asian region. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll give everyone, we have 3 minutes left, I'll give everyone just a minute, half a minute to make a statement, and then we'll stop, because then the next people are going to come. So Malaz, you have half a minute.
Again, I'll start. Anyhow, so I'll come back to the question of China. What is China's story? And I'm using consciously the word story, because as Yuval Harari says, that we are built to believe and to make stories. They are presenting a story. Everything is a story, obviously, even if it has nothing to do in today's post-truth world. What is their story? Fukuyama again points out that capitalism failed to deliver for everyone. So it made some people extremely rich and others not. The story of China is, number 1, stability through strong hand, and number 2, effectiveness. And number 3, and most importantly, because it picked up around half a billion people out of poverty, saying we will deliver for everyone. Thank you.
I know that Myra has been the most controversial, so I'll give her the last. Mr. Foxley, you, and then Myra.
I'll be exceptionally quick. Two points, one general, one specific. If you're going to, I'm thinking about the BRI and China, but also investment and reconstruction in Afghanistan. It's not sufficient to put in money and to build stuff. That's not sufficient. You need to develop human capital and you need good governance to monitor it. And if you don't get any evidence of local benefits, then the locals, the communities will resent and resist. So I think this is probably where China and other countries go wrong. you say stuff, you build dams, you do this, but there's no proper monitoring and there's no proper involvement or benefit for the local communities. My question to you, more specifically on the Taliban, and it's for all of you, is how should the international community engage with the Taliban? I've highlighted all the human rights violations. The ambassador has explained it more eloquently than me. But therefore, how should we be engaging with the Taliban? Because what I've seen for the last year and a half since the Taliban came to power is everyone urges the Taliban to do the right thing, from the United Nations down to all the NGOs and human rights, but it's not been very effective. So the question is, how should we be engaging with the Taliban?
Are you? And then we can continue this after.
Okay, so I mean, point noted about views from Pakistan administered Kashmir. I know we don't really have time to go into it here. Yes, of course, I always stress that India and Pakistan should talk, because at least in easing up the tension between India and Pakistan, you make it easier for the people who live in the region. But in my summing up as quickly as I can, I want to just come back to the thing that we were trying to focus on to some extent in this panel, which is climate change. Because a lot of what we deal with in terms of the detail is actually going to end up being quite irrelevant if we don't get a grip on it. And I don't know how many of you have travelled in that part of the world. I mean, the force of nature is so impressive. You can't really travel in those mountains without ending up running into a landslide and getting held up, seeing a road intact, big proper road, big concrete bridge, fully washed away. And that was when I was doing that travelling. That is before we started having the acceleration and the unpredictability of climate change. So all the discussions we have, and I'm very glad it's included on this panel, we need to be really careful not getting too bogged down in the details of what did and didn't happen in the past. We need to focus on the fact that, you know, when those glaciers start going, I mean, they are so impressive, they are huge. When they go, then everyone's going to suffer.
Okay, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
First, I'll let you.